An amazing day to my classmates all over the world. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I hope you are all doing good while watching this video. In the previous video, we learned about check. A check is an attack to the king. At this video, we will practice giving checks, and also we will be pointing out how important it is to give safe checks. So let's start. On this puzzle, okay, how do we give check to the king? Of course, we will be using our bishop, and our bishop can move to d5. Moving the bishop to d5 allows us to get into the diagonal where the king is. And the king on g8 should do something about it. As we discussed in the previous lesson, we should do something about it when our king is being attacked. It's a type of forced move. So we are forced to move away from g8 square to keep our king safe. In this position, we could not move to h7 because we can never put the king in danger. The computer is not allowing our king to move on h7. Over the board, it's called illegal move. In this next video, how do we give check to the black king? All right, rook to g2 is the check to the king. Amazing. And the king can move away to these squares. Next example is this. How do we give a check to the king? We will put our queen to e8. Now the queen is on e8, so the king can move to g7, h7, and we could not move on h8 because it's still on check. And also, knight to f8 is, king to f8 is not possible as well. If you go to these squares, it's called illegal move. How about this? All right, in this position, our knight will be the one giving the check to the king. So, how? Of course, knight to d4. Not only that, aside from giving an attack to the king, apparently we are also attacking the knight on f6. Let me introduce you to double attacks. Double attacks are attacks that we do with one piece and attacking two pieces at the same time. We will find out more about double attacks in the next following videos. So watch out for that. How about this? How do we give a check to the black king? All right, we should capture the pawn on e5 by our bishop. Now it gives a diagonal path to our opponent's king. That's a check, an attack to the king. In this position, it's also interesting that we will find double attacks. Sometimes checks are the keys for us to find other attacks. So if we put the knight on e7, the king is under check, and at the same time, we are giving an attack to the rook. If the king moves away to a safe square, now the knight can capture the rook. And the rook is more valuable than the knight. If there is a trade between your knight and your opponent's rook, more or less, you should take it most of the time. Now here, this is a bit tricky. It starts to get tricky when we include giving checks and giving safe checks. We learned in the previous lessons that we should always be putting our pieces on safe squares. So there are two ways to give checks in this position. Bishop to f4 and bishop to b4. So which one is the best check? Amazing. Okay, so bishop to f4 is not a good square for our bishop because the knight is protecting that square. So we should never ever put our king in or our pieces in danger. So the better way to give check is bishop to b4. Now here is another type of double attack wherein we are attacking the king, and if the king moves away anywhere, and then we will be able to capture the rook. For example, the king moves away to d7. We can capture the rook. Bishop is 3 points, rook is 5 points. If we lose 3 points and we gain 5 points, so that's 2 points for us. And we capture another pawn, and it's a check. Amazing. How about this? Again, there are two ways to give check. Rook to c8 and rook to g3. So how do we give a safe check in this position? All right, we give safe check on c8. No, it's not. Okay, if we give the check on c8, the bishop will capture. So what do we do? Give a safe check on the g3. Okay, if the king moves away, no, he cannot move here because the bishop is giving a check. So there are only two squares to go, here and here. Okay, more. Here we go. How do we give a safe check in this position? Our bishop could not attack because the king is on dark square. So we should attack with our rook. Where should we attack? G2 or E7? Precisely. Rook to E7 is the best way for us to give check. Because if we put rook to G2, the bishop will just capture the rook. Okay, we now have our queen. How do we give a safe check to the king? Very nice. Okay, this is a bad square for our queen because the pawn will just capture. Well, the queen can also capture, but if you are wise and analytical in this type of situation, you will not capture with the queen because the pawn will capture and then you will just gain a pawn. But if you capture with a pawn and the pawn captures, then you should not capture the pawn. You should not capture the pawn. Okay, see? This one. Oh, yeah, you should capture. Okay, there you go. And here we go. How do we give a safe check in this position? We are playing black. So the knight will give a check. The rook is it's impossible for the rook to give a check to the white king. So there are two ways for the knight to give check: f3 and g4. So which way do we go? Of course, f3, because we can see the bishop is guarding the g4 square, and we should not go there. Okay, and plus the knight is attacking the king and the rook at the same time. All right, I hope you learned something from this video, and we successfully exercised our mind, and we became an expert in giving checks. Thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. If you reach this part of the video, I would like to extend to you my deepest gratitude. Thank you so much, and I hope you look forward and follow my next episodes or my next videos that I'll be uploading. Okay, thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have an amazing day, everyone.